Wow.
Speak to me.
I'm okay, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Guys, why you gotta be such an asshole? Droopy says Blake should rub my balls.
Ah, shit! Fuck!
Hey guys, Vance again from Starcom. You know, at this point, I am just at a loss at how to begin my videos and greet you guys, so I'm just gonna throw you random funny stuff and pray that it works. Today we're obviously gonna be checking out Hydroid. Not too many people ever request this thing, and I don't ever see Hydroids running around at random, so I thought that it would be appropriate that I do a god build to kinda inspire people to be a Hydroid a little bit more. Getting right into my build, before I even start, I gotta tell you that everything in this build plays a role, a significant role. I mean, absolutely everything that I do within this build has a purpose. So we're gonna run the energy siphon, the handspring. The handspring is another critical thing. I know that I mentioned it with Vauban before because anytime you get knocked down, you want to spring right back up and get back into the fight. Prime continuity for obvious reasons. Transient fortitude to help with your Tentacle Swarm. That way your tentacles actually do some damage and get some kills. Streamline, obvious reasons. Vitality, also obvious reasons. Rage is so that Hydroid is going to convert that 40% of the damage that's done to his health into energy for himself, because he's going to be like a glass tank without the tank. He's just going to take hits and he's going to get severely punished for this. So you want to make sure that you're converting as much of that damage into health as humanly possible. Prime flow for obvious reasons, but the two most important mods here are the Curative Undertow and the Pilfering Swarm. Curative Undertow is a mod that heals not only yourself but teammates as well. And oftentimes when you see people using Undertow, it's really because you want to hold enemies. That's pretty effective. Especially if, you've got a lot of pressure on a pod and you want to take some of that pressure off. But I just really use it to regenerate health and also to heal my teammates. It gets really easy to fend off incoming attacks when you're constantly regenerating yourself and your teammates. Pilfering Swarm is going to be critical, especially for survival builds. I find that oftentimes I can solo a survival mission regardless of what it is. I like to go to the Jupiter Dark Sector survival, and I can actually last up to 40 minutes, and I could possibly go longer if it weren't for the Leech Eximuses that steal my energy. But I'm one of those lazy people that I kind of don't want to craft energy restores. However, if I did, I would be able to go on a lot farther than that using Pilfering Swarm. I never have to hit a pod. Pilfering Swarm is as good as a Desecrate, and I'm hoping that Digital Extremes will give Hydroid a little bit of loving like they intend to do with Rhino, and make the Tentacle Swarm kind of scale with enemy level. That way Tentacle Swarm doesn't suffer any fall-off damage, because in its current state right now it will become useless after a while, which is why I tend to go with Atomos as my secondary. I'm skipping straight to my secondary because Atomos is my powerhouse for supporting the Pilfering Swarm. Just giving you a second to look over the build. Ruinous Extension is kind of the odd one out here. You don't see this one be used too much, but the reason why I tend to use it is because Atomos is one of those unique weapons where when the stream hits someone, it will spread out and hit more people, and the more range you have on it, the farther the spread as well, which is a very unique thing about it. Now, as far as my melee weapon is concerned, I've recommended Ripkas before on Limbo, and I actually ended up using Anku. But I would recommend Ripkas definitely for the Vermilion Storm. I know that I use a lot of mods that is pretty hard for you guys to get a hold of, but this is totally worth it. This mod alone makes the Ripkas about 20% more effective, if not 50% more. It goes without saying that it has my seal of approval. Yeah, I know I'm getting to the point where I'm going to wear that out pretty soon. The reason why Vermilion Storm boosts its efficiency so well is because it gets these nice spin attacks going. Even when you don't have the Ripkas equipped, you can just mash the melee button and you'll be spinning around doing a lot of damage. And I use that either in conjunction with the Tidal Surge that Hydroid does, or I bring along the Paracyst. Now, I bring along the Paracyst because A, it's got really good status chance as far as normal fire rate goes, but it also has the secondary ability, Alternate Fire, that grapple hooks enemies and pulls them to the ground. So oftentimes you'll see me grabbing targets of interest, things that I want to get off the battlefield as soon as I can, which is like Leech Eximuses and Ancients and Ancient Healers, Heavies and Bombards. You see me grappling them all the time, and as soon as I jerk them to the ground, I follow it up with a Ripka finisher. And Ripka, along with Vankas, is well known in the game for having the maximum amount of finisher damage a melee could have. Base damage alone, Ripkas and Vanka are nowhere near impressive, but when you start factoring in finisher damage, it nearly one-shot kills just about everything. I hardly ever have a problem. It's really turned my Hydroid into a tank of sorts, which is not a normal thing for any other Hydroid. The last thing that I really use with this build is the Djinn Sentinel, and I never complete these builds with the Sentinels. I don't have enough time to crank in Forma and max out the mods. It's really reminiscent of Arcwing and how you have to just crank in an ungodly amount of Forma, and it's just not at all necessary. So, going over the build, Animal Instinct, covered this a million times, should I even say it at this point. The main reason why I like to use Djinn is just simply because it's got that Fatal Attraction, which draws your enemies close, which makes them a whole lot more susceptible to the Tentacle Swarm. And then the power itself of Djinn is very nice. What it tends to do is it emits this like glowing, pulsating little maneuver, and it's queuing up getting ready to fire off a beam. And see, when your enemies are tied up in the Pilfering Swarm, what's going to happen is your Djinn's going to go off, and it's going to weaken everything that's in the Tentacle Swarm, making it easier for your Swarm to actually get some kills. So the only reason you're going to be suffering fall-off damage in the first place is because the tentacles aren't killing. So the Atomos and the Djinn are going to help to make sure that the Tentacle Swarm keeps killing, especially in the later waves. This pretty much concludes my build, so if you like this video, do the usual. The rate, comment, subscribe, share to your friends, refer to the description for the recruitment details if you want to join my clan, and I'll catch you next time. But until the next time, Blake Poop Prime. Peace.
I don't care.
A's over here, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm stuck in a fan. Like, literally, I'm stuck in a fan. Can't get out of this freaking area.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm stuck in a fucking fan. Yeah, Duncan, haven't you heard? I'm over 100 subscribers, so I have a lot of fans.